Welcome everybody, this is How to English, Teach and Learn with Gav and Em.
It's a podcast about teaching and learning English as a foreign language.
All opinions stated are personal and references will be given when necessary. It's that time of year, Gav.
It is, it's December and it's time for the special December show.
Special, yes. I'm very excited to be doing this. I can't believe it was a year ago that we were doing our last end of year special.
I know, and we had some amazing contributions, submissions, entries, recordings from those fabulous teachers and learners. And you know what, Em?
What, Gav?
We're doing it all again.
We are. Last year was Top Tips.
And Top Tips 2.
And Top Tips 2, if I remember correctly. This year we've changed it up and we're going with our favourite teaching moments.
Yes, teaching and learning moments. Because remember, Em, this is Teach and Learn with Gav and Em.
That's right, Gav. That's right. So, Gav, what's your favourite teaching or learning moment up till now in your life?
I would have to say it's very difficult to choose just one because I've been teaching for a little while now. And in every lesson, almost every lesson, there is something I think, oh, that was wonderful. I really enjoyed that moment, that experience, sharing that time with my students. But if I had to narrow it down to one moment where I thought that was really special, that was a unique opportunity for me to share a special moment with my student, I would have to say it was when I was having a one-to-one lesson and I said to my student, "How are you doing? What's new? What's happening?" And he said to me, "I've got some really big news, but I haven't told anybody about it." And I said, "Well, do you want to tell me?" Mm-hmm. And he paused, he hesitated for a moment, he looked me in the eye and he said, "I've decided to propose to my girlfriend." I said, "Wow, that's amazing. When did you decide?" And he said, "At the weekend, I was thinking about it. It's about time we go to the next step, the next stage of our relationship." And he said, "I've been thinking about where we should go, how I should pop the question. Should it be traditional? Should I have some modern take on it?" And we spent the hour of the lesson just talking about what he wanted to do and how he wanted to propose to his partner.
Wow, that's lovely. So by the end of the lesson, had he solved or worked out what he wanted to do?
Yes, he had a very clear idea of where he wanted to be, how he was going to pop the question, when exactly it was going to be. And I just thought that was a really, really special moment that we shared together. And I was the first person that he told that to.
Oh, that's amazing. So there was a lot of vocabulary in that for down on one knee, ring, I don't know what else, engagement.
Yeah. And then we went on to talk about marriage and how it was different in his country compared to the UK, for example.
So it was true dogma style. Came from the student.
It did.
That's really special. So, yeah, I think as teachers, we have got a privileged position sometimes. We get these things told to us and they're not even, I don't think the students are even aware of them, you know, how they're going to tell us or if they want to tell us. It just happens that way and it's lovely. It's really lovely to share that.
Well, we are very privileged to share all of the stories, the moments, the inspiring situations where our teacher and learner followers to the podcast can share their ideas. So would you like to hear them, Em?
100%. Go ahead.
Okay.
Let's start, yeah.
Well, do you remember a particularly fabulous lip sync assassin?
I do. Victor Hugo.
Yes.
How could I forget?
Who we featured on a previous episode. Do you remember which episode it was, Em?
It was season 2, episode
10.
10.
Innovative methods of teaching.
Yeah.
That's it. So Please, everybody, go back, check out the episode. It's absolutely amazing with Vitor talking about lip syncing to his students. Let's listen to Vitor's most memorable teaching moment. Here we go.
Hello, Gavin. You've asked me to share a memory story with you guys. And, well, there have been so many in these 26 years of being a teacher. But there's this one that happened last year during the pandemic that touched me so deeply. And it goes like that. A 14-year-old teenage student who was very shy in the beginning of the course wrote me a thank you note in the last week of the semester, saying how important I had become for her since she needed to prepare and present a scientific project in front of the whole school. And she could only do it successfully because she learned in my classes that perfection doesn't exist and that it's okay to be flawed. And by understanding that, she grew confident enough to give an outstanding presentation and got a very high score for it. That message really touched me because I had no idea how my teaching was not only improving her English, but also making her overcome her fear of speaking in public and helping her achieve other goals in life.
What a fabulous story, Em.
It's amazing.
You could really shape somebody's future just through your English teaching.
Yeah, it's worth remembering the power we have as teachers to do that. And it's lovely when you actually see it happening and you get the recognition as well, which is lovely. What a really special relationship I think they've got.
That's absolutely wonderful.
26 years
I know,
teaching.
that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Vitor has so much experience and must have so many amazing stories. That is a magical moment.
Definitely is. I think he's also got a painting of himself in the attic, perhaps.
Now let's move on to Carla from My Learning Stuff.
One of my most memorable moments teaching happened back in 2018. This student came to me with a huge challenge to overcome. She was in her last year of college, and she had only that year to pass the remaining subjects she'd flunked. However, the biggest problem was that she'd flunked all the English subjects. 7 teachers had refused to help her. She was already considering it a lost cause and that she'd never major. I must confess that when she explained what she needed, I got really concerned about it. Because depending on the steps I had taken with her, she could have ended up failing again and getting frustrated. Deep down, I knew I could do something with her. I was willing to teach, and she was eager to learn and give her best. What best combo could I have asked for? Together, we built a study plan focused on helping her pass one subject at a time. And that's what happened. One step at a time, she passed all the subjects and graduated. I think it took us 9 months studying on Sundays, during holidays, and late at night. And I got a bonus. She started with me, hating English, and ended it enjoying the learning process and finding a purpose with English learning. Well, this student is a reminder of why I'm here and why I chose to be a teacher, a mentor, a guide. To help people change their lives forever through English. Because learning a language means freedom to live an epic life. Thank you.
What an uplifting story. That is so inspiring.
That's beautiful. To live an epic life.
And it's just worth remembering, don't give up on people. Just don't give up on them, because there's always a way, there's always a method that will work. And it's lovely that, you know, where other people had given up, Carla was prepared to take it on. But I understand her hesitation, because that's a lot of pressure on a teacher to do that. And obviously if it failed, that would be a huge disappointment for both of them. But get the right person behind you, encouraging you, motivating you, then you can do anything.
I can imagine that might seem a bit overwhelming if the student comes to you and is really flunking those classes and you're their last hope. That's such a lot of pressure. But Carla clearly was successful and transformed the student from, as she said, hating English to becoming a passionate learner.
Who's next?
Well, we have got Barbara.
Barbara.
from English Music Education. Which episode?
Yes, I think it was episode 6, Gav, season 2.
That's right, exactly. And do you remember what Barbara talked about in that show?
Yeah, it was all about incorporating music into your lessons, having students singing and pronunciation. It was all very interesting.
That's it. Well, let's have a listen to Barbara's most memorable teaching or learning moment in the classroom.
Hi guys, this is Barbara from English and Music Education. It is certainly difficult to choose a specific moment that is like the best of all. But I would say one of the best moments is every time my students are learning English with music and they are singing their song or their favorite song, and you see them enjoying the song so much that it seems like they forget where they are and they get sometimes even emotional. It has happened to me that some students got pretty emotional singing their song, so I think that's really cute and beautiful at the same time. And sometimes when they sing together, 2 or 3 students, you see how they connect, how they are really enjoying and living the moment, forgetting about all their problems and all those things that make them feel stressed, and they are connecting. They are so happy looking at into each other's eyes and so wrapped up in the moment. I think these are one of the most rewarding moments when you see that what you are doing, what I'm doing, is not just teaching English in a conventional way, but you see them grow and connect with the music. So I would say that's the best. Thank you, guys.
Oh, I love that. I can totally relate to what Barbara's describing there, where you look at the students and they're so involved in the activity, whether it's singing or engrossed in a deep conversation together, and you can step back and you can enjoy that beautiful moment.
Definitely. And when the students arrive in a headspace that's just not good, and then after you finish teaching that lesson, they say, oh, I feel amazing now, or I haven't thought about that problem, or I haven't had any stress for the last hour or whatever. And you think, well, I did that and I allowed that to happen, and I gave that student that opportunity to just transcend really to somewhere else. It's really lovely.
So thank you, Barbara from English and Music Education. Now, we've got Ellie from English SBZ.
Hi, Governor. I'm Ellie, and I'm an English teacher from and based in Spain. After teaching English for quite a long time now, I can think about lots of memorable moments, but I have finally chosen one, which involves my youngest group. I usually teach teenagers or adults at high levels, but some years ago, I took up a group of 7-year-olds, which has been with me so far. They're always eager to learn new things, and I sometimes just forget about the book, and I teach them more difficult things. Some years ago, for instance, I taught them the expression, don't show off, because one of them was looking down at the others because of something he'd done well and the others hadn't. And we all had a laugh at this expression and gave examples about how to use it. It was not part of the lesson, so we never mentioned it again, and it didn't appear in exams or anything like that. But months after that, I could listen to some of them using the phrasal verb show off, and that made me realize that it had made an impact on them, and that it is something they will never forget. I must admit, I felt so proud, and that moment onwards, I always try and practice new vocabulary through play roles or games where they can really feel they're practicing the language.
Lovely. How nice to have a class for such a long time and to grow with them and see their development. And I think that's a really good example of when English is real, and it works so well when it's real and it's in the moment and is so much more memorable for that reason.
Mm-hmm. The students definitely pick up language which you don't always intentionally mean to put in there, but then when you see it come back later and you think, oh, that was just a moment where they picked up some language and they're using it correctly and it improves their ability to express themselves. It's beautiful. It's absolutely wonderful. I love it.
And it's a good reminder to get away from the book sometimes and make it more applicable to life, and it doesn't need to be in the exam necessarily. I think that's a good thing to remember. So the next one we have is Fatime at f.zamani1376nn. Let's hear Fatime's memorable moment.
Hi everyone, I hope you are doing great. I am Fatime, I am an English teacher. I would love to talk about my most unforgettable memories today. Here is one of my most unforgettable memories I wish to address. In my point of view, teachers are heart of the education. When I was in high school, I had a great English teacher who taught English through funny and amazing stories, and we had a lot of fun in her class. Not only she taught us an amazing English, but also she taught us how to be a good person in real life. It was my dream to be like her, and after 12 years, I am an English teacher who not only teach English with a lot of fun, but also I teach to my students to be a good human being in real life and respect to each other. At the end, I would love to thank Gabe and M for giving me this amazing opportunity to thank my teacher.
How wonderful. So after 12 years of hard study and learning how to teach English, Fatime finally became the teacher that she aspired to be.
Absolutely. And it's lovely to think that we as teachers can have more of an impact than just the language. I totally agree. It's about the choice of materials. It's about the whole atmosphere of the classroom. It's about how you interact with each other. All of that just builds a relationship, and those things stay with you. We should all be good people.
Yes,
Definitely.
I agree. That's a really nice sentiment, that you can be a good person.
And now we have Hedrick. Gav, do you remember Hedrick Nichols from Small Bites?
I do. Do you remember which episode Hedrick featured in M?
Yes, Gav, it was season 2, episode 3, Bias, which was a fantastic episode. So I definitely recommend everyone go and listen to that if you haven't already. So Hedrick has sent in her favourite moment from her teaching career so far.
Moments,
okay.
Wow, my most memorable moment? That's hard, but I've narrowed it down to 2. The first was when I was teaching music, and there was this class, this one time in a century class. They were musical, and we decided to put on a kind of a sing-a-palooza, and the kids organized it all. The kids chose all of the music. They built their own band. They did everything. The only thing I did was arranged for sound, but they were, and even one of our guys did the sound. They were amazing. And to see that many talented kids in one class year was amazing. And it's really neat because I see them now as adults, growing their families, working in music, working as professionals, big band directors, recording, that kind of thing. The second favorite moment was a more recent one in my school as a tech teacher. We did the design cycle projects, and one student's father has, I believe, MS and mobility issues. So she designed a sock taker offer that you could roll to the laundry room. And she did, an amazing job. She put everything together. Anyway, those are my 2 favorite moments. I don't want to go over 90 seconds, so love teaching.
I love that. Sock taker offer.
Yes, and there's a sing-a-palooza.
Yeah.
Those are 2 really memorable moments. You know, when everything is just perfect and you're able to allow the students to get on with creating, using the target language and producing exactly what you've asked them to produce.
Yeah, magical. Really, really magical. Thank you very much, Hedrick. Really great moments. So who's up next? We've got Mariana at D Languages.
One day, I get a phone call from a man asking me to help him get ready for a job interview. It wasn't just a simple job interview. It was an interview that he had been waiting for over 10 years. And he was feeling very desperate and very nervous because he found out that part of the interview was going to be in English, and he did not feel ready for it. So I decided to help him. He had only 1 month to get ready for the interview, and we worked really hard for literally every day for a month. And then he had the interview. Nothing happened for like 2 months. But one day, I get a phone call from him. He was in tears, thanking me for helping him get his dream job. It was such a magical moment. One of the best moments in my teaching career, for sure.
Great story.
That's so memorable.
I love the way she told that as well. I was so invested in that just for that short time. But yeah, just how long it takes and how much energy and effort you have to put in. But it's all worth it when you get that result, and how nice it was that he recognised her hard work.
And it's interesting to think you have 1 month, you've got a deadline, and you have to achieve a certain level of English. You have to prepare your student for this very important meeting. And the success that Mariana got from that must have been such a great feeling, this proud feeling that your student has achieved what you set out to do, what the student set out to do. And that's just absolutely wonderful.
I think it's important when you get these opportunities or these challenges that you break it into parts and you think, okay, what can we do first and how can we work on it? Because if you think of it as a big thing, as it can be so overwhelming that you have to achieve this in a short time. But that's what a good teacher does, isn't it? They manage it. They make it manageable for the student and help that student deal with it. And that's more than just teaching, isn't it? That's a whole other aspect of life.
Definitely. You bring all those skill sets together and achieve your goals.
So we have one more from Sanya, who is from English by Sanya.
Hi everyone, this is Sanya by the profile English by Sanya. It's my pleasure to tell you more about my teaching experience and most memorable moments. And actually there have been a lot of them because I've been teaching for more than 11 years. Nowadays I mostly teach adults and I teach business and everyday English, but I also used to teach teenagers and young children, and I still remember till this day how much fun we have had in classes. And especially when you teach, for instance, teenagers, there have been some really amazing moments. For instance, when my students realize that we do not just, of course, learn grammar, future simple, past simple, etc. I teach them about life and how to reach a goal and the system to reach their goals. And I'm very grateful and so happy when they tell me, teacher, this is more than just learning English. It's the way to express my opinions and beliefs in a foreign language. And that really makes me satisfied and just it helps me wake up every day and enter class online or offline and just enjoy my job.
What a great one to finish on. I think Sanya has definitely summarised our experiences and the rewards we get from doing our job. And also I've heard so many teachers talk about teaching teenagers. It can be so exciting and kind of nerve-wracking. You have to be so engaged, but the returns that you get on teaching young people can be incredible.
Yes, Gav, exactly. And I think what we're seeing as well is it's not just the book and it's not just the grammar. That would just be the most unrewarding thing to do, to just go in and say, okay, this is the page we're going to do. So all of this, all that we've heard today, I think just makes you realise it's more than just the content of the book or whatever it is that you've decided to teach.
It's more than just grammar, Em.
It is, Gav.
Em, do you have a most memorable moment?
I have hundreds, thousands, possibly millions, yes.
Em, could I hear it, please?
Yes, you
Are
can.
you going to share it with all the followers?
I am. But there's echoes. I think there's echoes of what other people have said that is in my memory as well, which it was a group of teenagers and I was teaching at a summer school and it was my first job ever teaching. And I had this, I suppose, very wrong idea that I had to go into the class and dictate what I was going to do and what the students had to do and very much, handhold and tell them step by step everything, because I had this concept that if I didn't, then they would be out of control. But this one day I just didn't have time to plan. I had absolutely nothing ready, so I went in absolutely terrified. All I had in my bag was a pack of cards, and the cards all had letters on them. And I had no idea what to do. I was totally blank. So at the last minute, I just thought, right, I'm just going to say to the students, here's a pack of cards with letters on, make a game. And I didn't think it was going to work. I didn't think they were going to respond to it. I thought they'd all just sit there and it would be this awful lesson. But they totally went with it. And this game that they created was just this so inspiring, complicated game. It was like an anagram, word Scrabble combination. And I was basically just standing, watching, allowing it to happen. And it was just that lovely realization that I don't have to do it all. And these are young people who are perfectly capable of doing something fantastic.
All in English.
All in English. Everything was in English. And I felt a bit like, when you see kids on bicycles trying to ride and you just let them go and they do it and you think, oh, I'm so proud that they can do it themselves and I haven't got to do everything myself.
That's a beautiful moment, and I can see why that stayed in your mind and is a real inspiration to you as a teacher.
Yeah, I think when emotions are involved as well, like that fear that suddenly turned to euphoria, those are the things that you keep with you.
That's a really good analogy. It's taking off the
stabilizers
and allowing your students to go ahead and take their own chances, and you see whether they fall.
Yeah, but you're there to pick them up again. But
that's it.
You've got to let them try.
You've got your grammar bandages and your vocabulary plasters to help them.
That's nice. Exactly right. And I'm glad it happened at the beginning of my teaching career, because I think you can get a long way in until you realise that students are perfectly capable of doing things. So yeah, that was a good one for me, an eye-opener.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, before we finish, we've got a couple of things to do, Em. We've got the shout-outs, and then finally we have a song to share, which is kind of, for me, is themed around this time of year as we come to the end of the year. So I hope everybody enjoys it as much as I do. But
it's a cracking song.
It is incredible. But first of all, we've got some shout-outs.
Shout-out number 1, CambridgeEnglish.Ellen.
Grief Responsive Teaching.
Fun English Workshops.
Ingles.com Giovanna.
Ingles.com.daha.
Teacher_Peter_.
Melissa _English classes.
Talks.in_English.
Kelly Maya ALT.
And finally, terribly_English. Thank you to all those wonderful people for liking and commenting on our posts. Let us finish now, Em, with the musical piece of the show. And it's coming from Shaisan Devasia. And you can find her on YouTube. So please go to the show notes and check out her links. But I'm just going to read from Shaisan's bio. So she wrote, to put it in a nutshell, music is her life and passion. She was a playback singer in Indian cinema, a singer who records songs to be mimed in films by actors, and has sung 9 South Indian film songs and over 150 songs in Tamil for Christian albums. Right now, she is an online Hindi language trainer registered on Verbal Planet. So if you want to improve your Hindi, please go and find her on Verbal Planet, where you can have some lessons. She has been teaching there for the past 5 years, but she's still singing old melodies in Hindi, Tamil and Malayalam. Now let's have a listen to this beautiful song. I hope you enjoy it, and don't forget to catch us next time for the second part of the December's special shows.